Hey folks, Sean here, and in this episode I want to talk to you about why managing profitability for your B2B SaaS as aggressively as you feel comfortable will never go out of style. Now, in the world of B2B SaaS and tech companies in general, there's been years, if not decades at this point, of all kinds of crazy stuff happening in the industry. Namely, probably what's gotten the most attention is the trend of growth for growth's sake. And this is where there's a completely different model, and this is more in the VC world, where you're raising round after round, but all you're trying to do is essentially get a new round of investors to pay for churning and burning through the cash that gets injected at that stage to and through the next round of raising additional capital. Now, this is something that a number of companies have tried. Very, very few have ultimately done successfully, or to the extent of it was something that didn't inevitably just kind of collapse or falter. And that's why I'm such an advocate for you focusing on the profitability element of making sure that the B2B SaaS product that you're building can ultimately become a proper business sooner rather than later. And that's what I mean by it never goes out of style. Healthy business fundamentals and economics are key to running a sustainable business. And the sooner you can get your B2B SaaS product to ultimately manage profitability in a healthy way, the sooner you can be much more in control of your own destiny, as opposed to being dependent upon investors or outside capital or growth at all costs or whatever other kind of crazy stuff is going on in the industry. I've largely never understood most of that, and I have a more significant background in economics and finance than probably most do on average that operate in the B2B SaaS world. And it's a relatively simple concept. It's not really all that complicated. You need to be able to take in more than you spend, but you need to be able to do so in a manageable way. Now, as you start out in your early days of building your B2B SaaS product, you may need some capital to get started, meaning that you may not be profitable right away, but what I'm recommending is that you manage towards profitability as soon as you can. And I'm going to talk more about the trending information that's happened in recent years, especially with historically low interest rates a few years ago. When that was the case, we saw crazy multiples, we saw growth for growth's sake, and really this major shift away from profitability, which I think was a really dangerous trend. Because of it, there was a historic number of failures of tech products and B2B SaaS product companies. Now, the fact that the economic conditions have changed and interest rates have risen considerably as the Fed tries to get inflation under control, that landscape has shifted pretty dramatically, even in the VC world, where they're making investments into SaaS companies. What they're looking for now, surprise, surprise, solid business fundamentals and economics. They're looking to make sure that your books are now in order, as opposed to before when everything was being injected into growth and they weren't saving anything for a rainy day or trying to manage towards profitability. So now that's come back into, or that's become more popular, I guess, again. But in my opinion, it never really fell out of style, as it managing towards profitability should always be a goal. I think it is the ultimate goal for your B2B SaaS product if you want to turn that into a healthy business. So long story short here, despite the trends that happen over time, if you manage your B2B SaaS product and business towards profitability, that's something that won't go out of style, and you'll have more control in the long run because that approach will be more sustainable.